Hi everybody and welcome back to another episode on Trouble's Restoration. In this episode we're going to be removing Trouble's bumpers. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite as quick as that. This episode is a great example of the realities of working on such a rusty car. Sometimes things just don't want to come undone. Let's see what my bolts per hour speed is in this episode. Let's go. Okay, getting straight into it this time. The YouTube stats suggest you will hate the spoken kind of start of the day intro, so I've got rid of it. Let me know in the comments if you want it to come back and any other feedback you have. A 356 rear bumper is supposed to be held onto the car with two mounting brackets or straps, fixed to the monocoque of the car with two bolts on each side, and apparently two additional bumper support mounts right on the ends of the bumper. I say apparently because I didn't know this at the time. I was going off what I could see. So yeah, what I could see was that Trouble's rear bumper was only held onto the car with one bolt through the mounting brackets on each side. You're enjoying the iron oxide falling into your eyes?
Yeah, it's about 10 years of my life.
You got your safety squints on.
We're sending you the bill.
Alex got on with undoing these bolts while I started on removing the number plate light on the bumper. This bumper light had next to zero rust and came off like a dream.
I must go into a loom. I found it. Here's the connectors.
It turns out I could have just disconnected its wires. These were connected to the main loom with more bullet connectors, which had been nicely insulated. What I think I meant to say was nicely insulated with some old school insulation tape.
Okay, so what have we got? We got a brown going to a red, yeah, and then we got a brown going to a red. Perfect.
The wiring made no sense. Red into brown, brown into red. Pretty sure that's supposed to be the other way around. But the bullet connectors came undone really easily. Alex has just been working tirelessly under the car to remove all my rusty bolts.
Two of those.
So yeah, we've got those off, and I've disconnected my number plate lights. Again, they won't be coming back on because I don't want anyone to be able to see my number plate any more clearly than it needs to be. And now, in theory, hang on, no, we've got one more. Has yours rotted out that end? Yeah, hang on.
My what? There is nothing.
I've got something here. What's up here? Unfortunately, I hadn't quite spotted all of the bumper mounts. We quickly discovered that there were in fact two more bumper mounts at each end of the bumper, holding the ends to the rear wings. Well, there was supposed to be two more. In Trouble's case there was one, as the right hand side end of the bumper had completely rusted away, so was no longer attached to the car. In my defence, the fact that the right hand side mount had rusted away was probably why we missed the one on the left hand side. Getting this last bumper mount off wasn't straightforward. It should have been, but it wasn't. The captive nut in the bumper that the bolt screwed into was no longer captive, and there was no way to stop it spinning. Running out of ideas and losing time for my bolts per hour record attempt, I got the angle grinder out and cut the head off the bolt. Not ideal, but oh well, we got it off. Unfortunately, the camera wasn't rolling, but we eventually got the last bolt off and managed to remove the rear bumper. One way or another, we removed 3 bolts and have been working on Trouble for an hour. So we're currently working at a bolts per hour speed of 3. Not quite a record, but it could be worse. Let's try and ramp this up. Now we've moved forward on the car and we're going to be taking the front bumper off. And I think it's actually a little bit more simple than the bumper at the back. It's just one bumper strap here, another bumper strap here that goes to the front of the monocoque. How many bolts? Not sure. How many bolts we got? I can't actually see. Can't see how many bolts there are, but yeah, next job is getting this front bumper off. You'll be pleased to know I eventually found the front bumper mounts. Similar to the back, the front bumper was held on with 2 mounting brackets, which both had 2 bolts on each side, but this time no support mounts at the ends of the bumper. To make my life a little easier, Troubles only had 1 bolt on each side. These bolts fixed the bumper brackets to the side of the battery box. At the front here, you also have a fender support on each side and the horns attached to the fender support. This made accessing this bolt a little difficult, but I did manage to get there in the end.
That's a spring. That's a transverse spring. That was the job. Also, I can't work it out, but it does a similar job to an anti-roll bar, but in terms of spring.
1 bolt.
Affects one side.
Out.
One side of the car affects.
The other side was again slightly more tricky, as this side also had the heater bubble for the Eberspacher heater. To help improve access on this side, I decided to jack Trouble up and take her front left wheel off. The improved access with the wheel off didn't help. The bolt was completely seized up with rust and I was making little to no progress, so stopped filming. 4 hours later, and with my dad joining in to help, we finally managed to get the last bumper mount bolt out. So, taking the bumper off hasn't been as the front bumper off. Taking the front bumper off hasn't been as smooth sailing as I'd hoped. When I went under the wheel arches, I could see that there was actually only 2 bolts holding it on, 1 bolt on each strap on each side. The passenger side, which would be the offside, the near side in the UK, that bolt came out easy breezy, straight out.
Offside in the UK.
Sorry, yeah, which would be the driver's side, the offside in the UK. Passenger side on this car. That came out really easy and wasn't too much of a headache. The driver's side, which is the near side in the UK, has been an absolute nightmare. It's taken me the best part of 4 hours to take one bolt out, which is here. Here is the offending little guy. It's tiny, absolutely tiny, but yeah, completely locked up solid. Alex was here during the day helping me with it. We took the front wheel off to increase access. I've taken the fog light out to again get in at the front. We had to file the faces, the sides down on the bolt so we could get a socket to fit. Even then we couldn't get it undone. So then we got out the good old hot air gun, and my dad's been hot air gunning it, and we then got a breaker bar on it and heard the best sound in the world, which was a positive crack. It wasn't a crack of it breaking, it was a crack of the stiction finally giving up and breaking. So the 2 bolts that were holding my bumper on are now out. I believe they are the only things holding the thing in.
Let's find out.
So we should be able to slide her out. Here she is.
Look at that beauty.
1 bumper. Oh my god.
Right, there's the scrap bin.
Oh, that's still hot.
Right, where are you going to put it? With the other one?
Yeah, on the floor.
You got it?
The bumpers may have taken it out of me, but I wasn't finished and I still had some kick left in me, so decided to try and make some more progress with clearing out the rest of Trouble's front wheel arch. Right, so we've just got the bumper out, and now what we're trying to do is clear out some of the other accessories, ancillaries. Are they ancillaries? Is that what you call it?
Ancillaries, yeah.
Ancillaries that are under this wheel arch. So what we have, as I said, I've already removed the fog lamp. There's a horn attached to the fender brace, which is here. You can see that. The horn is there. And then we have a small indicator and also a little grille, which is again just a little bit for design. I don't think the grille actually serves any purpose. So just those things. Unfortunately, the front of the car, as you can probably see my dad shining that inspection lamp, it's been really wet under there and everything has become that little bit harder to try and undo. So yeah, so we're now just working on trying to get the horn out. Okay, so unfortunately, I went for the time-lapse approach on this one for the horn because I thought we might be again here for some time because the bolt was pretty crowded up. Crowded? I don't know if that's the right word, but it wasn't in a great way, and you missed a rather spectacular shearing.
Have you got?
Fortunately, the horn was caught by the wiring loom. But yeah, the horn's off. The horn is off. The bolt just... Can you see that? The bolt just sheared. But I guess made our life a lot easier. We didn't have to fight. So that's that off. My dad's just undoing the loom there. Can you see that? I'll just see if I can zoom in. Okay. That one horn. It's going to be some time till this car can honk if it's once more.
Here you go.
Thank you.
That's your left one.
So here's my horn. This is the horn. Can we see what that says on it? No, I don't think this is really going to work. Anyway, again.
I don't know. I'd be surprised that it doesn't.
So the
You could
connections.
probably clean it up.
Did you remember which way they went? You know which. I don't want my horn going backwards. It took 5.5 hours to remove 5 bolts. The 2 bumper strap bolts at the back and the one on the side here that we had to grind off, and the 2 bumper strap bolts at the front. I'd never have thought it would be so long. It gives us a bolts per hour speed of around about 0.9, which I'll admit isn't great, not fantastic, but there's probably a little bit of faff in there. So I think it's fair to say that it probably only took about 5 hours to remove the 5 bolts, which brings us back up to a bolts per hour speed of 1 bolt per hour, which is better. Not great, but better. I guess the big positive is the bumpers did come off. We didn't have to damage too much. I mean, we only ground off 1 bolt and another one snapped, which wasn't even to do with the bumpers, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, and anyway, since then, we've also made great progress. Trouble's really coming along. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you'd like to watch Trouble's journey back onto the road and follow it more closely, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.